Hi everyone, my name is Kimberly Delatorre. I'm going to take you through a little intro about myself and my experiences with Module 1. Just a little about me, I'm currently enrolled in the Masters of Assessment Curriculum and Teaching with a concentration of STEM education. I'm excited to get this course going as I tried to start it last year and it just got away from me. So here we go with Trial 2. I currently teach 6th grade STEM at East Middle School in Westminster, Maryland. This is my 3rd year with East Middle, but my 5th year teaching overall. Some of my hobbies and interests, I just really enjoy being outdoors, running to just clear my mind, kayaking in the summertime with my boyfriend on the lake is always a fun time. And traveling is my absolute favorite, most expensive hobby. We just got back this summer from a trip to Spain and Italy with my family. So that was a fun time. And then this upcoming summer, I will be going on a trip with some students to Iceland. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. As an online learner and an online teacher, I've learned a lot of different things when it comes to the digital world. In Kutztown, I had some undergrad classes that were online. When I first started those, they were a little difficult to just keep up with the pace, as I feel like I prefer having an instructor in person. But with the graduate courses at Millersville, I'm learning to just manage time, and I'm already familiar with D2L, so I can just jump back into it and go back to how I used to do my assignments. As a teacher, I've had a whole mix, as mentioned in the Moskowitz book, between fully online, hybrid, and web enhanced. I think I've had a little bit of everything. At the end of the spring 2020 year, like most of you that went fully online. In the 2021 school year, it was a hybrid model, and we had a lot of different ways that school year went, between being fully online, transitioning to some students in person, some online at the same time, and some students being completely virtual the entire school year. We had just a lot of difficulties between managing assignments, whether they were in person or they were handed in digitally. It was just a lot to keep track of. This past school year, although students were completely in person, they still used a web-enhanced way in class where they were using Google Classroom to access some activities or some assignments. And also some assignments were on paper. Different teachers decided to do different things. Some teachers only used computers in person. Some tried to stay away from the computers, but admin really asked us to try to incorporate it into our teaching. Now, with this school year coming up, we have been training using an LMS system known as Schoology. And so far, navigating it has been pretty easy. And I'm hoping that as the students transition from Google Classroom to Schoology, it'll be pretty easy for them as well to just have all of their assignments in one place. So we'll see how that plays out. But overall, as Moskowitz mentioned, organization is a key component. It's something that teachers need to be highly efficient in, only because it'll help the students, it'll help the teacher, whether they're preparing for the next day or just knowing where to look for things. It is a big help. It was also mentioned that in addition to convenience, flexibility, and other strengths of the online format, the course content and the learning environment itself can be tailored to meet student-specific needs. So it helps them whether they need more time to do an assignment or need a clear explanation, need to look at something again. Digitally does work for a good amount of students. Some of the skills for online teaching that I've developed over the years are just knowing my content and subject area, I'm pretty tech savvy, so I can say that I can work with computers. I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that and can pick it up easily. I think the patience and flexibility kind of go hand in hand, only because certain students in the past have had issues with computers or just haven't been able to access the content. So being able to quickly think about how they could do it alternately, and just having that flexibility to work with the student and see how they can best succeed in the class. As mentioned, unexpected things can and do happen in the online environment, and I ran into a lot of that with students, and I probably will continue to do that, only because computers are always faulty and there's always some sort of issue happening with them. With needing some development, I listed organization. I have developed some organization skills. However, there's always room for improvement. With any of these, having clear expectations, I realized sometimes I thought I had explained what I needed, but apparently it wasn't explicit enough for the students to understand what they needed for a certain task. Communication skills is listed here only because I felt that in the past I could probably communicate more with parents and keep them on track as to where their students are. And maybe when it comes to an upcoming project or test, because in STEM we need a lot of materials, sometimes they need to have those at home or bring some from home. So being able to communicate with students ahead of time or even with parents about what they need is very important. Not every online teacher from the onset will have all of the skills and qualities. So I've realized that, and obviously even with a couple years in with teaching and learning online, there are still skills developing, and as long as a teacher is willing to learn and willing to gain some of that experience, I think it'll be helpful in succeeding in the future. In the national standards for quality and online teaching, there were obviously some similarities to online and in-person teaching. The professional responsibilities, an online teacher always has to be a reflective practitioner, always looking for new ways to improve, to look out for colleagues and how they can help. But we are lifelong learners, so we always have to look how to improve ourselves. Digital citizenship, is here only because whether they're using a computer in person or completely online, they should still be following proper etiquette. They should still be following proper rules when it comes to being online. Assessment and measurement, it's similar because I gave a lot of assessments online to my students, and I could clearly see where they were in that aspect when it came to maybe a Google form or just a digital task. However, if there was maybe a parent helping the student, I wouldn't be able to see if it was really their success that I would be looking at. The instructional design, a lot of my assignments and things are digital, so it would be presented pretty similarly, whether it is a Google slide or a Pear Deck or however it is presented. However, some activities are just hands-on building. So that goes along with the differences with the learner engagement. The students in person have a lot of building things in STEM, so that would be kind of different. Having group discussions would be very different. And then when the online teacher enables a learner customized pace, that is only different because in person you can kind of see where a student is at with their assignment, where in person you can see where they're at by just walking around, whereas online you have to just hope that everybody's on the same pace, maybe checking in to see where on their assignment they are. The online teacher ensures that learners have the necessary course resources and the information needed to navigate. So this isn't always possible, only because some students might have better Wi-Fi, or some students might have other materials at home that could benefit them than other students. I think the most difficult thing is the community building, where the online teacher promotes learner-to-learner interaction in online groups in order to foster collaboration. The students will definitely have to figure out other ways to interact with each other. I did a lot of breakout groups when we were virtual, and I found that it was kind of difficult to have the students working together that way. I couldn't really monitor the breakout groups only because I would have to be in different groups at the same time. So if I would go to one, I had to double check that they were actually staying on task and discussing what the task at hand was. Diverse instruction is also kind of difficult, only because some students need like having that person over their shoulder, whereas some students work a little more independently. Some students are thriving at working digitally, whereas some students really just can't get the whole being in front of a computer. So I think that is the most difficult part of the whole online teaching. And lastly, some of the challenges with online teaching are obviously the time and the student issues. What was stated in the reading, because many teachers in this area are continually improving their practice with new content, new technologies, and new ways of engaging students. In particular, it can particularly be time consuming. So I've noticed that I have even changed some of the things I do from semester to semester, because the way I teach is only half the year with a group of students. It's a lot of time consuming work to have to change the things that I want to do, but I enjoy doing it. And then student issues. It can be frustrating not knowing what's going on with students' personal lives. It limits your understanding of their needs. In person, you can clearly see if something is wrong with a student, but if they are behind a screen, don't turn on their camera, don't participate at all, it's really just hard to see what is going on. And it's kind of frustrating not being able to help the student and to be able to be there for them in case they need someone to talk to. There are some students that lack that self-motivation to help them keep going, to help them, just get on that Google Meet, or to get onto their computer and log in. And there's some students that you just need to keep nagging them over their shoulder and reminding them to stay on task and to do what they need to do. So there have been several challenges. We continue to work with them. But you try to just look at the bright side of things and see what does go well and go from there. Thanks for listening.